It's like it's all I can hear now in the quiet parts. Holy moly, that episode was a riot. I mean, it wasn't. We did spend a lot of time laughing. But,
yeah.
Whew. Hello, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Kristen.
And this is So I'm Watching the White Lotus, Season 3, Episode 6.
Denials.
We're gonna wait. We're gonna wait for the Ratliff family because we get more money the more we can string things out.
Y'all bitches have to wait. We're gonna start. Let's just start with guy talk. Yeah, he got the gun back.
He nutted up a little bit.
He did,
and things seem like they're working out for him.
So
which
far.
I don't know how I feel about that because part of me is like, yay. I mean, at least he's catching a break. Yeah. And then part of me is like, I mean, hasn't his life up until this point been a break?
A series of breaks, yeah.
And then another part of me is like, well, it's not over.
Yeah. Because I was like, so he gets the gun back. He breaks in. He gets into the Ratliff's place. He finds the gun in the little curio cabinet thing, and he takes it back. And then they go to the shooting range, and they're practicing, and he's like decent at it. And now my theory is that because of the poetry of it, I think it could be Mook that's dead.
Well,
and that he doesn't.
You think Aitok could be the one from like a trigger finger / overcompensating place?
Yeah, his like superior guard, like officer, whatever, was like, do you really think you could do it though?
Like, do you think you have it in you to follow through?
To shoot someone if you need to. And so now I think he's just gonna start shooting
indiscriminately
once the shooting happens. Like, I don't think he's gonna be the first to shoot, but I think he's gonna shoot.
But this whole time they've sort of the people in the show and the show itself has been like, you need to take more initiative. Like, you need to like take control of your life. Take the bull by the horns. Although we've taken enough bulls by the horn in this world. It's somehow more and less than what I was expecting, but so yeah, he and Mook did interact.
Mm-hmm. She's super happy for him, and
she was like, so are we still getting together later? And he was like, yeah. And she honeypotted her way right out of there. I'm just saying I still think there's something else happening. We do have 2 full episodes left. However, they go down very smoothly, so it feels like a lot now, but
I'm gonna have to like force Will to get on board and just watch the first 2 seasons with me, because I'm like, let's go.
I screamed.
Y'all got any more of those White Lotus episodes?
I screamed when the episode was over because I had a point about halfway through where I panicked and I was like, oh no, I'm having too much fun. It's going to end any minute now. Yeah. And then I was like, oh, we still got plenty of time. And then I got lost in it again. Yeah. So when the end came, I was caught unawares.
So I think let's move to Belinda.
Uh-huh.
She and Pornchai wake up the morning after,
in the literal and figurative afterglow.
And it's like just in time for her to hear Zion coming in through the door, and he just opens the door and he's like, you need a minute?
Which, he was a champ.
It was such a champ move. Yeah. It was so great. And she just was like, yep, thanks. And it was super cute because then later, Pornchai was like, you know, you said you wanted, or he first made sure that he didn't make any trouble with her son. And she was like, no, he's good. And I've got a lot of dirt on him too. So like, we're cool. And he was like, oh, good. He like was really worried that he did something bad. Mm-hmm. And then he proposed that it would be easier to start a spa in Thailand and that he would like to do it with her.
Yeah, I love that.
It's coming on a little hot.
But that makes me scared.
Yeah.
Because we've been talking about a little bit more so in our reactions, which, as always, patreon.com/soimwatching this show, $3 tier. We've been talking about it a little bit more in the reactions that Mike White, to our understanding and experience, tends to... There's a poetry.
Yeah.
There's a poetic justice / irony to his writing. And we've been saying that Belinda has a lot of plot armor, so I haven't really been worried for her sake.
Yeah.
However, a handful of things that have moved on the chessboard, I now feel like there's chinks in her armor.
Yeah.
That I'm not as confident as I was 2 episodes ago.
So she's still nervous about Greg/Gary, which she should be. And then
and
also
they did interact.
They interacted, but the other thing too is like when she was talking with Pornchai at like actual work, Fabian came back up and was like, "Are you feeling better about stuff?" And she was like, "Sure, I'm not." What about it?
He's still going on about singing.
Yeah.
And
I guess it actually was when she was eating with Zion, but whatever.
So help me God, if that doesn't amount to anything.
Well, there was a clip in the scene from next week. He does look like he is singing.
I mean, is this when the shots are going to open fire? Because I don't know.
It was day when the shots
rang out. Because as is the case, I mean, none of this is happening on accident.
Yeah.
Chekhov's plot points.
Yeah.
Like, if we're talking about it, it's for a reason. And I'm still like, this again?
Yeah.
Which makes me feel like there's
more.
Yeah. There's an element to it that is obscured from my vision.
Yeah.
So
she's also Belinda's walking through the resort and she comes upon Gary/Greg, who is like
done a complete 180
and he's
from
like,
the last time
he's like, "Hey, I actually like," when he also is like being really cheeky about it, he was like, "You remember me?" And it's like, "Yeah, bitch, she remembers you." And so he invites her to his place for dinner, and because they're having like a dinner party, and she
declines, and he doesn't take no for an answer.
Yeah,
which
like,
he's pulled that with the entire cast.
Yeah.
So I very much is this play about us. I think I think he has a one-man show prepared where he's going to air everybody's laundry.
Yeah, so she's obviously like very spooked again by the whole scenario, and he also kind of like breaks the fourth wall of their interactions, and he's like, "I think we should talk. So I'm the last house on the hill. Come see me anytime." And I'm just like, no.
Here's the thing. I am 100% prepared to be wrong and eat my words.
Yeah.
Completely. However, part of the fun of this show and our coverage of the show is just sort of throwing ideas out there. I'm unsure realistically how afraid we're supposed to be of him.
Well, sure. So that's one thing, because he obviously didn't do his own dirty work last season. And the other thing, too, is something that just came to me right now is maybe he wants to pay her off. He's got a lot of money. She still wants to open a spa. Maybe he's like, what'll it take for you to like be quiet about this?
Because I even joked on our watch along that if I were Belinda, I would have been like, you know what? Let's call a truce.
Yeah.
I didn't see you. You didn't see me.
Don't even worry about
it. Let's not look the gift horse in the mouth.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know. Like you said, I mean, he didn't do his dirty work. And also, as is the case, and as I've been saying and already said in this coverage of this episode, I feel like there's elements that have not unveiled themselves yet.
Yeah.
Because I still think he has another side, at least one other side to his personality that he's concealing. And if you remember some of the Tom Hollander stuff from season 2, it seems like
they were in love with each other, right? Or at least Tom Hollander was in love with him.
more in love with him.
Okay.
But it felt like it wasn't his first rodeo.
Sure. Like there's just a bunch of dandies around the world being like, you remind me of my childhood love.
I mean, sexuality is a spectrum. Like, these people are rich. That's what this show's about, is exploring, you know, wherever you go, there you are. And so, also, I mean, we had that Sam Rockwell monologue last week where he very specifically was like, I found a guy who even looked like me. I don't think that Gary/Greg looks like Sam Rockwell, but
they're
by
both
TV logic,
bald men of a certain age,
and Sam's hair is buzzed for this role, I feel like there's something else afoot.
Sure.
I don't know what or what that means. And I'm not ready to move in on Chloe yet.
No. I will say that Rick is still going through with this like TV movie producer thing, and
he's seeming less sure.
Yeah, but Sam Rockwell has agreed to help, but he's like, also, I'm trying not to get involved in shit like this. Like, what's actually going on?
Did you not hear my story?
Yeah.
Did you focus on the wrong part of my story? Because it's about how I've turned a new leaf.
And so they do end up going, and even though he said he wasn't going to, Rick has brought the gun.
Mm-hmm.
And then we hear Scott Glenn's voice at the end. And when I hear multiple strokes, I don't think someone's walking around greeting me at the door, but he does.
We didn't see him.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't feel comfortable or confident either way, like speculating on that. I do want to say, though, that Rick did have a meeting with Sritala.
Yeah. Just in order to then make a meeting at the house.
She seemed like she was clocking some of his...
She seemed a little savvy to some of it, but like not enough to actually call him out yet.
I mean, she seems susceptible to flattery. Yeah. If we know one thing about Sritala, it is that.
Yeah.
However, I literally made a joke. I was like, she quite literally was not born yesterday.
Yeah.
So I don't know what I think is going to happen. Like, I don't know what I think is going to be accomplished. Mm-hmm. And part of me sort of feels like Rick is just going to like and run out of the room.
I mean, preview for next week, he's got the gun pointed at him.
He does.
But we'll see. And then...
Because you even said, you're like, he needs to go back to...
Amrita.
Yeah.
For sure. He like seemed like he was semi having breakthroughs with that. So apparently he just wants to talk to the guy and make sure that he knows that he ruined his life. And I'm like, at this point, I am more certain than ever that this is somehow not actually the guy, or that he is actually your dad instead. Like, it's not going to be what it says on the box.
He's going to be like, yeah, I did, and I'd do it again. Now what?
Sure.
Like, what do you want from me?
One way or the other, I think it is not dead dove, do not eat. I think it's like, I think we're going to take a left turn. And then Chelsea did get in touch with Rick. He swears nothing happened because his buddy is sober. Nothing did happen.
She's like, I feel like she is objectively the best character on this season.
Yes.
But somehow she kind of keeps surpassing, like, she, just with every new plot element. I'm like, God, she's the best.
Chelsea's
so funny,
fantastic. So we can sort of hear her in the background on this phone call, and she's like, "No, you have to say I love you, not just love ya." And it's like the whole thing,
because it's different.
It's different, and I was like, "It is. It's different. It's so different." So that's all very funny too. Girls trip.
Yeah, I was like, we're blowing through this, but I will say, it's picked up. Yeah. Like, the plot has picked up steam. We've already spent time getting to know these people. Yeah. Now things are coming. Like, the tsunami is coming. And I just want to say that I, this whole time, have been approaching the three girlfriends as fully developed, complex characters. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people have been very quick to write them off as one note, as they're just bitches, or they're just fake, or they're just this or that. And I now more than ever believe that I am right.
You are right.
That I was right.
Yeah.
I'm kind of in awe of what they're doing with these characters, because it feels so real.
Mm-hmm. Who amongst us has not been on a trip where your friend hooked up with the foreigner you wanted to hook up with? Who has not been on that trip?
It's all the nuances. Like, it's all the little things. And, you know, I remember it was a problem I had in high school where this friend would be fighting with this friend, and I would have talked to both of them and seen what the issue was. And I'd be like, I can fix this. And so I would try to, like, talk to them for each other. And then I get in trouble because I'm spreading gossip, which, okay, fine. In hindsight, yes. But it's like, it's all subjective. Yeah. Like, it's all, and we open up with Valentin leaving Jacqueline's room, and Kate is on the phone, and she sees it.
Presumably with her husband back home, yeah.
And she kind of is like, oh my God. And I'm like, this bitch, voting history aside, I've kind of been, like, giving you the benefit of the doubt in some of these scenarios.
Okay, look, maybe she voted for Jill Stein.
I mean, that's worse.
I agree.
At least stand in your convictions, But then we get the scene where she's telling Lori about it, and I'm like, bitch.
Okay.
And you can see
the change when Lori keeps talking about it. Because Lori is the cheese, man. They made her be the cheese.
That's okay. I like being the cheese. Why did you make me be the cheese? You guys got to be cute, and you made me be the cheese.
And it's not cool. They made her be the cheese, and she knows she's the cheese is the bad part. Is the worst part. So you can see
the specific moment on Leslie's face where she's like, "Oh, we're not gossiping. You've
taken this very personally in a way that I was trying to, like, serve tea, and you have burned your whole face with it." But again, it's like, because that's the thing is if I'm taking that SNL skit to its conclusion, Lori is the cheese, Kate is the mouse, and Jacqueline is the cat. That's the sexiest costume. That's who they are. That is this friend group. That skit is perfect for this show. Like, it's ridiculous how perfect it is.
That was one of those, like, it unlocked something in you.
Yes.
Like, when that skit aired, you were like, I feel seen,
yes.
like, as a human,
because,
as
again,
a woman.
In addition to all of us having been on this trip with our friends, everyone, we've all been the cheese at some point. Because, oh, well, you'll be the cheese, right? That's fine, because I already have the cat ears. And it's like, you bitch, you bought that yesterday. Like,
well, and everybody's all noble when it's hypothetical.
Of course.
But then when your friend is reaping the benefits of the sexy cat costume, suddenly you want a second go at it.
And you're 4 hours and 8 drinks later, you are crying in the street asking why they made you be the cheese.
No,
I said what I said.
I truly, and again, this is from what I gather, this is sort of what Mike White does.
Yeah.
And it's what I am responding to the best. Like, you're absolutely going to get shocking, edgy, dishy things, but you're also going to get nuance, and you're going to get raw, uncut humanity, like straight from the tap, like I said last week.
I think there's so many different parts and facets of it too, because like we said, Kate was just looking to be like, oh my God, can you believe it? Like, I can't believe it.
And who amongst us doesn't have that ugly part of us
course.
that wants to indulge in a little bit of bitchery?
And then Lori takes it too far. She's always been like this. She's 45. And
but
she's
my
like,
favorite part about it is how much joy Lori's getting out of making Jacqueline squirm.
Well, not
and,
only
like, cornering
that,
her.
Yes, it's not only that, but it's like, I think the vibe is that like she was never gonna hook up with him, but the whole vibe that Jacqueline was putting out too was that he was Lori's to hook up with, and so then Lori was feeling all insecure. And by the way, her husband called in the morning. So,
although it was
a little sus, but he was
my
on
phone
set,
died and I was busy, and I'm like, bitch, it's been 5 days. Like,
so.
Because you said something about like in a coma, and I was like, I don't know. I was waiting for him to be like, we were protesting such and such, and we got arrested.
Yeah.
You know, like.
So yes, she is taking a lot. So she also totally like dismisses Valentin at breakfast.
Yeah. And he didn't. It may not be Stratala's first rodeo, but it seems like it's Valentin's.
He really is playing it off like he's never hooked up with a guest at this hotel before, which seems crazy.
Or been the hot guy in a group of women.
Yeah, it seems nuts. Although I guess it could be, if we're thinking he's still involved in like the robberies and stuff, he could be new at the hotel.
Sure.
But we'll see. So yes, okay. So Lori is.
So do you think he just thinks he's gonna go through the group, like? Because he says specifically to Lori, where he's like, "Am I still gonna see you later?"
Yeah, and she's like, "No, bye." But you're totally right about her making Jacqueline squirm. But the thing is like Jacqueline totally denies it. She's like, of course I didn't. What are you even talking about? And that's when she throws Kate under the bus, and she's like, well, Kate saw I'm leaving or whatever. And the way that they're pinching and smacking each other, so funny. The whole thing.
That's when because I've said before, we both love Leslie Bibb, and we have the receipts to prove it. But I kind of did my whole.
I watched Popular live on.
No, but I mean, even like go back and watch our Trick or Treat episode, because she's like the Drew Barrymore opening kill in Trick or Treat, or like the Babysitter movies. But I like did my whole Leslie Bibb Bibbissance spiel last year with Palm Royale.
Yeah.
And so I haven't been laying it on as thick, and now I'm feeling left out because everybody's talking about her like she's special and like she's having a moment, and I was like,
we've always
I just wanted to
been
put that
there
out there,
with
but
Leslie Bibb.
One of the things that I've always loved about her is I think she's one of those people that, especially earlier on in her career, because she's looks like that, she would get pigeonholed or dismissed, and I think she's a better actress than she has gotten credit for up until this point.
Yeah.
Because she finds ways to mine roles.
Yeah.
Sometimes even very straightforward roles. And also, again, with her beauty works against her, it's like she's a very good comedian. Like,
Yes.
she's very good. And I mean, Talladega Nights is just a medium movie, but she's with some heavyweights in that movie. And she holds a candle to them.
I'm just thinking about the dinner scene with the baby Jesus. I keep saying, thank you, baby Jesus.
Like, so it's been great.
Yeah.
Was there anything else that we needed to hit with Jacqueline?
Outside of just the denials, she also then gets mad at Kate because she's like, I get talked about so much and like gossiped about, and I just was like, the people that my friends, the people that I trust or whatever, I just didn't think you'd be talking shit behind my back. And Kate is very like, that's not what it was like, but Jacqueline's already leaving.
Well, and also not for nothing, in Jacqueline's defense, it's like, okay, yes, she's the cat.
Yeah.
Like, she's the queen bee, she's the alpha. And yes, I'm sure she gets a lot of satisfaction lording that over her friends. But that also doesn't mean that she can't enjoy these people who knew her before and enjoy being the big, the big deal, the provider, the like. It doesn't always have to be so tinged to negativity the way that I feel like people approach it.
But I think then you have to own the bad things that you do too, and she's definitely not doing that. And so it's like, while I don't fully agree with like Lori's approach to it, I do appreciate the intent to knock Jacqueline down a peg.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you think you're this and you are like, you know, the most successful and the most famous of all of us or whatever, you still just cheated on your husband. And now you're trying to lie about it, even though we all know you did it.
We all saw you.
Because Lori's like, oh yeah, no, we should totally still go to the Muay Thai thing. Like, let's go out again. Don't you want to see Valentin? I mean, I think it's delicious. It's totally bitchy. It's delicious.
Yeah, well, and she's earned it. Like,
yeah.
I'm just saying, I appreciate the fact that there is, as I perceive it, nuance with these characters.
Of course, yeah.
And that they're not just three terrible women.
Mm-hmm.
So, speaking of terrible women.
Victoria?
Yeah.
All right, well, first of all, I'll say Timothy is having, like, imaginings through the whole episode of... Two of them. It looks like he might have another one next week. He's imagined killing himself, but then Victoria and Piper are the ones to come across the gruesome scene, and he kind of can't handle that.
Which you pointed out, it was interesting.
It's good and bad that it's like...
interesting.
I think part of it is that he knows that the boys are away right now, so they wouldn't find him if he did it in that moment.
But also from Durham, North Carolina, I mean...
That he's more worried about his wife and daughter's
strong. They don't cry.
Reactions.
You know?
Yeah.
He's seeing his death through the women in his life's eyes.
Yeah. So he puts the gun in the cabinet that Guy Talk finds it in later. That's fine. Piper, Victoria, and Timothy are going to the temple because Victoria wants to look around and they want to talk to the guy and make sure that everything is kosher and it's not a cult. Saxon and Lachlan come home during this situation, and Lachlan decides to go with them there. Piper has a really nice talk with the monk.
Mm-hmm.
It was good. She just was like, I need you to talk to my parents because if they're not okay with it, I can still go because I'm an adult, but it's going to be really difficult. And the guy is like, totally, send him in.
I kept waiting for him to sort of...
I kept waiting for him to be like, it's your decision or it's not. Like,
or to have taken a vow of silence or something.
Yeah.
And you're right, he was more affable than I was anticipating.
Truly
him
incredible.
being.
Like, I actually was like very comforted by his presence.
And I also kind of get a kick out of, and I know that it'd be like this, but I get a kick out of how comforting and reassuring he was, given how little talking he does.
Yeah.
Like, they do all the talking, and he'll just sort of say, and how does that make you feel?
Yeah.
And then they're suddenly like, the gates are open.
Oh, crazy. So she goes back out. Victoria has left. She is walking around the building, but Timothy goes in.
Speaking down to all of the other monks.
So Timothy goes in and talks to him, and it's like pretty good for him as well.
You like had half of mine, you like thought he was going to come out in like an orange robe and be like, I'm joining it too.
I'm here. This is me now. Like, but he feels pretty good about it. He basically tells Victoria too that he's like, he seems legit. Like, I don't know what is Timothy supposed to, he's so high. He took another lorazepam in this episode. And so Basically, Victoria makes a deal with her. If she should spend tonight here, and if she can hack it, then Victoria will at least keep silent about her being there for a year, if not be supportive.
Well,
and then Lachlan offers to stay with her.
For the night.
For the night, yeah.
I'm on Piper's side. Yeah. I believe her that she wants this, but there is a part of me, since we're speculating, that's what we're doing, there is a part of me that is like, is this a game of chicken within the family?
Yeah.
Like, once Victoria's like, fine, you can do it, is she suddenly going to be like, I don't want to do this. I just wanted to get a rise out of you.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's going to be the case.
But it would be fascinating.
But I think it's possible that that happens.
It would certainly be fascinating, and it would be interesting if it was the type of thing where, like, because Timothy and Victoria have a conversation too, and he's like, don't we want our kids to be strong? Like, maybe it'll be good for her to, like, go without the creature comforts she's been accustomed to. And that's where they have that talk where she's like...
Ooh.
Because he was like, I would rather die than go to white collar prison. And then in this episode, she's like, I would rather die than not be rich. Like, if we lost everything, I couldn't do it.
She kept, first of all, she didn't say not be rich.
Yeah.
She kept using the word poverty.
Yeah.
And like, haven't we raised our kids to be afraid of poverty?
Yeah.
And it was like, I mean, I assumed that some of the principles in this family were warped or skewed.
Yeah.
But it was, there was some doozies.
I mean, I am scared of poverty, but like poverty befalling me. But I also am not like scared of the like idea of poverty. Like it hurts my feelings, but I'm not like the way she was explaining it was like, that stays over there far away.
But she's treating it like they're going to suddenly be in Les Miserables. Yeah. And I'm like, I feel like worst case scenario, this is like a Schitt's Creek scenario. Well, so where it's like you lose your money, but you're still going to have
something.
3 able-bodied children.
Well, we don't know if Saxon's going down with the ship at all in any capacity. Like, I don't think Saxon will go to jail, but he would lose his position as well and be unemployed in that
sure, but
arena.
You can climb back up.
No, 100%. And the thing for me that you said is, it's like, how is it this to immediate poverty? You were like, because there's going to be a trial. There's going to be all kinds of, they're going to freeze a lot of assets.
Like, you're going to lose stuff. Absolutely.
But I do also think when it's something like this,
I feel like you'll lose more face than you will.
Well, yeah. And I think it's also when it's sort of like Rico kind of like charges, they freeze your accounts, but they allow you enough to like very modestly live on.
Yeah.
While you're awaiting trial.
I mean, at this rate, I mean, they're going to make him president. Yeah. So they've got nowhere to go but up.
Yeah.
So.
All right, we've arrived. If you've stuck with us this long,
you've earned it.
All right.
Let me give you a hand. I am surprised it was a handy J.
What did you think it was going to be?
Well, there's been an oral fixation on Lachlan. The way that he holds the bottle, he's been drinking that like soda bottle.
Sure.
And so that's what I was anticipating.
Well, also Saxon was walking around some type of way.
I'm not expecting an answer.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna point it out. I don't know what that
there was a hitch in his giddy up, is what I'll say.
For more than just the initial.
No, like walking back into the hotel. Yeah.
So it seemed, I guess I thought I kind of thought we were done. Like, I kind of thought the kiss was it.
Yeah.
And then if something happened, I was thinking something else was going to happen. But it was like flashback. The night kept going. And so I guess Chloe slept with both of them.
She kept saying that. But we didn't actually see. We saw her making out with Saxon. We didn't see them fucking. We saw
Lachlan and her.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's interesting because I don't know. But
I guess she did say hooked up with both of them, and hooked up is a very broad term.
Lachlan is going to town in more ways than one. I don't understand Lachlan.
Me neither, because in the after thing, he was like, now he's shooting his shot with the other one.
With his sister.
Which is why he offered to stay at the monastery.
Okay, twofold. Because when we were talking last week, and I thought I understood Lachlan up until last week, but then it felt like this like a veil had been like the scales had fallen off our eyes.
Yeah.
And we saw this like darker, presumably more devious character. The whole I'm gonna take you down and the alligators on his shirt.
Yeah.
And there was just like all this symbolism that sort of fell into place. And so I was like, is this like a Brolita situation?
Yeah.
I wanted to make that joke last week and I forgot.
And the other thing too is like almost everybody in the comments was like, well, Lachlan didn't take that pill. But I
didn't notice that part.
I didn't notice it either. And I kind of reject that after this episode because it seemed like he was not remembering. Like, okay, at the beginning when he said, I don't remember anything from last night, I thought he was kind of giving an out. But then Saxon was like, yeah, we blacked out, even though he was remembering. But then it seemed actually like Lachlan wasn't remembering until he was doing the exercise in the monastery.
And it seemed like it really rattled him.
Yeah.
So now I'm back to like fully not getting this character.
Yeah.
Because it seemed like he was almost proud of himself.
Yeah.
For matching his brother's freak. And as you called it, I don't think Saxon's a virgin. I think he has had sex. But as you called it, there's a lot of talk.
There's a lot of bluster, and I think
machismo.
I don't think Saxon has a freak to match.
Brother fucking no.
Is the thing. And I think Lachlan is just young, but I think he's got some freak to match.
So I have to ask. I have not thought this. I have seen some people suggest it. Do we think there's any reality where there's going to be an 11th hour reveal that Lachlan is like adopted or something?
That seems too easy.
Except for, I would love if Mike White made us, the audience, watch this entire thing.
Yeah.
And reckon with it. And then sort of at the last minute drop that it would take the edge off.
Well, sure, but then who knows that he's adopted?
I think they all do.
Well, then Saxon shouldn't be this butthurt about it. In more ways than one.
But because he's full of shit. Because his freak, he can't match his freak. And so also...
It also kind of turns into a porn.
If Lachlan's trying to assimilate, like if he's trying to, because it seems like he's trying to give them what they want or what he thinks they want.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not hanging any hats on it.
Interesting. I'm not sold. It will feel a little like a cop-out.
I don't know. I've been young and naive, and I've never jerked my brother off. I just, I don't know how you reach that. I don't know where the leap is.
Yeah.
And he just has this sort of, this naivety. Yeah. I have no other way to say it.
I just feel like at this point, I feel like that's kind of a front.
Okay. Well, I thought that up until this episode, where he's grappling, and he seemed, if his feelings are the way they were presented to us, he seems rattled by his recollection.
Lachlan.
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, we are cheating in the slightest bit because we did watch the cast interview, and they inform their thought process of the characters slightly. And you're right. Sam Nivola was like, well, he struck out with his brother, so now he's trying to score with his sister. And I'm like, in what way? Because also there's a reality where I would think, especially after that fucking first scene with the gross porn conversation, there's a reality where I could see that if I had to bang one of my siblings, I feel like one of them would be more open to it than the other. And I just don't think that. I don't think the one who's about to enter a monastery for a year is the right call. On her vision quest, spirit quest, wants to bang her baby brother. Yeah. I don't know. And again, I'm compelled.
Yeah.
Am I on to anything? Is because Sam is young, and
he's 22.
20.
He's 22.
Okay. I thought he said 20, but
2003.
Okay. Yeah. And it's like, I could believe that he is, this good. And I mean, he's also being done a favor by the writing, the direction.
Also, his parents are both actors. Emily Mortimer and Alessandra.
And we're not super big, boo, Nepo. It's that sort of stuff I think can be inherited.
I think he's solid. I think he's a solid actor.
I think he's really good.
I think he's good.
But it's like, because it's a very subtle performance.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very small
Yeah.
performance, and yet it's causing a lot
of havoc.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the last thing we have to talk about then is the interaction that Saxon has with Chelsea and Chloe.
A true...
Honestly, just play the whole scene right here.
A true gem in an episode chock full of gems.
Chock full of gems. So Chloe is basically like, Greg knows about you, both of you. And he's like, what the fuck? And she's like, well, I basically had to tell him. He just like asked me straight out, so I told him. And he's like, are you out of your mind? She goes, he wants you to come for dinner. And he's like, no. And the whole time he's getting like paler and more like upset, and like he can't
as the weird monkey
sentences.
music
Yeah.
in the background, like.
And so she's like, maybe she's the one that brings up threesomes the first time, and he's like, oh, but I've had a threesome.
She's like, what, have you never had a threesome?
Never with two men. And she goes, well, what about last night?
Unhinged.
And he literally is like, I completely blacked out, I can't remember a thing. And she's like, well, I didn't, and he definitely jerked you off, so what are we gonna do about this? And Chelsea's face, she's like,
we were, but also her no judgment.
Yeah.
And then she's like, leave.
Well, I loved
like
it.
Lucille Ball levels of.
I specifically loved her. There's not a drug in the world that would make me get with my brother. And she goes, no judgment, though.
But I love the notion that Chloe knows about this.
Yeah. Is fine with it.
And is just proceeding with this holiday and sort of like, well, you guys have to come over and but you gotta promise. You know what I mean? Like,
you already had sex with your brother. You can't have sex with my boyfriend? Come on.
I mean, didn't she say that?
Basically.
And that goes back to, I'm like, well, isn't she like an escort? Like, I don't know, maybe this isn't her first rodeo.
Theory. There's a theory that she's an escort. She's never said she is one. She is his girlfriend for all intents and purposes. So that was amazing. And he excuses himself so fast. He also basically put on an entire can of bug spray. Like, we watched him do it. I thought that was
like it was a layer.
A really funny physical bit of acting that was really funny. The whole thing, he's just also beside himself. Like, he has no idea. It's remarkable.
A privilege to watch. Like,
it
a
really
privilege
is.
And a pleasure to watch this man squirm.
It's so good. It's so good. And so now it feels kind of like beating a dead horse, but a couple weeks ago, after we turned the cameras off, I was like, I've been wanting to make a joke, but it feels too mean. And I was like, he's got too weak of a chin to be acting this way, but now it fits. Now I think it's all come full circle.
Oh, that's all.
Yeah.
I'm sure, as we said last week, I'm sure there are plenty of details that we overlooked.
We've talked for over 40 minutes, I think.
No.
30 plus at least. We'll see. Yeah.
I just want to be in it. It's
I know.
So good.
It's so good.
And it's going to be over before you know
I
it.
know. I'm so sad.
But, so that's our feelings.
Yeah.
That's our opinions. That's our thoughts on episode 6. We got 2 more.
Yeah, we do.
So please like and subscribe.
Yes.
We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
Thumbs up.
You guys have been doing great for us so far. So thank you so much. We're so glad that everybody's enjoying it. I'm very, very pleased. Yeah.
Also, I don't think I've mentioned it on camera, and I'm actually shocked at how few people have mentioned it, period. But I love the notion of Parker Posey being the matriarch of this family, given her House of Yes history.
Nobody else is talking about that either.
I don't think anybody has. We need to watch that movie.
People keep doing Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon, and I'm like, Parker Posey is right there in an incest movie. Like, what are we doing?
One that's better than it has any right to be, considering that the 3rd and 4th lead are Freddie Prinze Jr. and Tori Spelling.
Yeah.
Although I actually will.
No, Tori Spelling.
I'll defend Tori Spelling to a great deal, not to an extent,
all the way, but
not to every extent, to a extent. But yes, so
2 thumbs way up. Can't wait for next week. Bye. 2 thumbs way up Saxon's ass.
There you go.